So this is the sample of our paper parol. We are going to use 3 color of cardstock. So red for the middle part, blue for this 2 spikes, and then yellow for this 3. So these 3 ones will have the hooks or the wire. So one so that you can hang it, and the other 2 so that we can hang the tail. So for the tail, I've honestly tried one that is made out of cardstock, but it doesn't look authentic. It kind of looked like an Easter Asian lantern, so I skipped that. So we will be using tissue paper for the tail, which we will be cutting manually. So I will be showing that later. So I'll place our parol here. There. So we do have yellow. And for my template, I did place in like filler template, so I would not be, wasting paper basically. And then we have blue. So for the blue one, I've used a 12 by 12. That's why I was able to fit in like 4. Let me just note the difference between like these 2 templates. So we have two kinds of template for the spike of the stars. So basically there's one with this space and one that is just, pointy. And by the way, so in the notes I have placed in that we have like score lines in our template so that it's easier to fold. So the one that we have used for the yellow one, the one that has like this, cut, is the template to use for the wire or the sides that you need to place like a wire. If you don't want to put on the tail, then you can just like use like this template without the cut. This blue I've used like for this too. That doesn't need to add a wire. So it's really up to you, but for me it's just easier if there's like a cut like this to add the wire. And then we have this. So again, I have this filler template. So this one of course also has score lines. And then we have this ones that will be this part that will kind of hold our tail. And then we have this template. So this part of course will be lit. And the materials that I do recommend on using for that one is either a parchment paper, a tracing paper, or an ordinary printer paper. That also works. And for me, I'm going to use this because I've tried using parchment paper. It doesn't attach using hot glue. I mean, it doesn't, you can paste it using hot glue. It's kind of hard. So I just opted for, ordinary printer paper. And I have this here notes. Use this template if you're going to use text white paper, printer paper, tracing paper, very thin paper that will be hard to cut using a cutting machine, because I've tried it and it just destroys the paper. It doesn't cut well. Print 1 to 2 sheets, then cut 2 sheets. Make sure to print border. This 3 will be for this parts, so you will have 1 excess sheet or piece because we only need 5, and this part will be for this one and like this side. So I do want to mention this part will be like our service area, so you'll be able to like open and close it. It just kind of like closes like a box, so yeah, like that. We'll also have like a pentagon piece here. So let's go ahead and cut these. So I will be cutting like 2 sheets at a time, because aside from it being faster and more efficient, I only printed 1 sheet. So if you are able to cut like a very thin paper using a cutting machine, that's good for you, but for me, it's kind of hard to cut it with a cutting machine. Probably I don't have the right mat or I don't have the right blade, but I just rather do this than buy a new mat or a new blade just to cut very thin paper. There we go. The next step that we are going to do is we are going to attach this inner covers to our spikes and the pentagon box. What I suggest doing first is folding this along the crease, or the score lines. So in using Cricut, so you have your scoring tool, or if you have a maker, then your scoring blade. So scoring blade is better just because the lines are it's like a light cut, and with a light cut you can easily fold it. I don't have a maker yet, so what I do is I manually cut it, which is silly. So I actually also have the option to just use my Cameo silhouette, but I'm too lazy, I guess. So I just use my Cricut without the I just use a scoring tool, but I end up adding the additional score lines. The big difference between a Cricut and a Cameo silhouette, which I love, is that the Cameo silhouette, you can use the same blade that you use to cut to create score lines, or cut score lines. So you don't need an additional blade for it. So that's for me one of the big plus difference between a Cameo silhouette and a Cricut. So we just fold the line, the score lines like this. This is optional because you can also do this once you have attached the covers. I just find it easier to fold it right now because it's easier to fold them while we don't have the covers yet. Okay, so there we go. And you just do this for the rest of your templates. Okay, so you gotta fold all of the score lines, okay? This might seem counterintuitive just because I'm gonna, flatten them again. But for me, it's just easier to fold them when you don't have the inner lining yet. So it's really up to you. If you want just one batch of folding, then you can attach the covers first and then fold them. But I've tried that the first time, and it's because there's gonna be an additional thickness, so it's kind of harder to fold them. So that's the reason why I chose to fold them first. Okay, so I am gonna use this. So this is also one of the ways that I recycle my Cricut mats that is not working anymore. So it's I use it to as a cover or a safety mat for my table. I use glue, tacky glue, to attach the covers. I find it much more efficient and safer to use tacky glue just because your hot glue, it's gonna dry out or cool down right away. So it's just easier to adjust it if you're using tacky glue. There's less room for error if you're using tacky glue. So yeah, so just line up your glue like this. So what I suggest is just making sure that your glue is near the edges, or else it's not gonna attach. And I have also tried, placing this, the covers like one triangle at a time. It's so much work. I mean, there's so much work involved. That's why having them like in a one, piece, that's much more efficient and easier, faster, makes much more sense. Okay. And just line them up. So, this longer side will be like on this side, and then the shorter one will be on this side. And yeah, just line them up. So make sure that, you know up until where this side kind of falls out or falls in. That's why, folding them is also helpful. And just cover the space and just flatten it like this. Oops. Just flatten it out. And this is much more using a glue is much more easier. The all-purpose glue stick, I've tried it. It's kind of hard because there's a tendency, most especially if you're using the purple all-purpose glue stick, there's a tendency for the glue to ooze out, and it's gonna, like, they say that it dries out clear, but honestly sometimes it doesn't. So it's like you're gonna have, it's much more messy, it's messier. So I love using tacky glue. So here, so do this for the rest of your covers. So I'm gonna do, so for this piece, you just need the pentagons, because for the boxes, you don't really need to cover it. So this is just support for the for this one. So that's why we have this like boxes, these rectangles. But really, the one that you're gonna cover is like this one. So honestly, my printout kinda end up short. As I get printed, and it's kind of short, which is okay because it's still like, it will still cover the whole box. So I hope it made sense. But yeah, it's okay if your print is kind of cut short. So we're gonna put it here. And just cover it. So again, the best thing about like folding it already is, like up until where you're gonna place in your, like, the inner cover. Okay, so you just let it dry. Join me as I finish this last one. So after you have attached all of the covers, you have the option to put in this beautiful drawing painting. So I just like drew it manually, honestly, using markers, but it gave a nice effect, colors to the parol. So, it's a nice touch. This is completely optional. You can go, just like plain parol without any design, but where's the fun in that? So it's really up to you, but for now we are going to kind of just follow this design. It's really up to you. There's no specific design that is common, I guess. Probably like flowers or star. Again, it's up to you. Some that I see that are on sale on Etsy are using, the Alibata or baybayin text, which is like pre-colonial text in the Philippines. That's an option if that's something you want to do. For me, I'm just gonna stick with some kind of like a flower design like this. I'm just gonna probably do like this one differently, add more, variations, colors. But you can start out with just pencil, like drawing in pencil, and then eventually that's what I forgot to do here. I forgot to erase the pencil lines. But we need to do that with this one. So I'm going to just draw out the outlines first, and then we are going to color it using a marker. So this part I'm kind of gonna speed up a little bit, just because again the design is up to you. You can follow me, you can do what I will be doing, but it's really up to you. So yeah, let's go ahead. And then let's erase the pencil lines. Now let's do this ones. Okay, so I'm thinking of like continuing this design here. So I'm just gonna position it like this. Okay, so we are done. So I am done putting in my decor, or like my drawings. So it's time to form them. So I am just going to just like fold the creases again, and make sure that your hot glue is ready, so we are going to use hot glue. You can also use tacky glue, but for this you'd want something that grabs fast. Before we close this one, so let us make sure that we have the wire in, because this will hold the tail. So about 1 inch to 1.5 inch. I just, you know, like curl it like this or bend it like this, so that should be enough actually. And you'd want to cut this short. And I am going to place it here. Let's put in glue here. And put it here. And that should be good. So I think I prefer tacky glue with this, just because I want to have that allowance in time to kind of secure the position. I'm just going to spread this out, so I'd have a thinner layer of glue. And honestly, you'd want this to be flushed. I mean, focus on like this two being like on the same, you know, line or flushed again, just because this would go like on the sides. Yeah, so I really prefer, okay, so yeah, now I prefer the tacky glue rather than the hot glue, just because with tacky glue you have more allowance in time to adjust it. So there, that's perfect. Okay, so we're done with this. And these flaps kind of overlap. My suggestion for us to be able to easily attach them with a pentagon box is that attaching these corners. Do the same for the next 4, you know, spikes. And let's do this one. So with this one, we are going to attach all of the flaps. This would serve as your service like door, because later on we'll be adding fairy lights. If you're going to use it as a lantern where you're gonna turn on the lights, then of course one way or another your lights will, you know, die out the batteries. So you'd want you know, a service door for you to be able to change either your fairy lights or the batteries of your fairy lights. So this will be your door or your service area. So again, do not put any covers on this, because we'd want to be able to like place the fairy lights like on the spikes as well. I'm just going to use tacky glue. Okay, so this is how this will look like. And I forgot to mention, I didn't put any decorations on the back, just because this will be the back, but it's up to you. If you want, feel free. I personally wouldn't, you know, put anything. So yeah, do the same procedure for all of the remaining spikes, and we are now ready to attach them. So basically what I do is like the 3 spikes with the wire is positioned on top, and then at the 2 bottom sides or positions, and then my 2 blues that don't have the wires are like here. And what I usually do is that you know, the like our opening, like this part where the service door is connected, that's gonna be the top. So that's just how I usually do it. You can do, you know, your own way or procedure. It's really up to you. Let's attach it. So I'll be transparent. I'll also be using this video for a vertical reel. So I'm just gonna rotate it. So this will be on top, and yeah, like that. But again, the connection, the service door connection, I don't know what to call it, but you know, it's gonna be here. Yeah, it's just gonna be like kind of rotated, but it's gonna be like that. Okay, now we're ready. And how I usually do it is I attach like the front part first, because that is what's going to be like more visible. So that's the part that's important, that is like flush or like, you know, in line with this. So yeah, let's do that. And I am using hot glue for this. So this one, yeah, again, I'm making sure that it's like in line or flush. And it's like the rest will kind of follow. So and I actually kind of find it hard to put like glue like here. I'm just going to add tacky glue here. we are basically done. So just add the other one and we are done. Again, make sure that you cut the tissue paper very thin, like a fourth of an inch probably. And now it's time to add the fairy lights. So let's just untangle this. And let us make sure first that this lights up. So remove this and there you go. Press again. Let's flip this. So the back. So we have our service area. And the purpose of, having them open is we can slide off some lights over there inside. As for this one, you can actually tape it here using a masking tape. Yeah, you can either tape it or glue it, but if you want to remove it later, then you can just tape it. There you go. Ta-da! Hold on. I'll position it this way.